Let's take a look at a few more options we have with live captions. And first of all, I'll go into my caption setup here, and we'll be coming back to metadata caption, but I'm going to take a look at position and style down here at the bottom of this dialog box. We have a few options here on the alignment. We can put it below the image, above the image, left or right of the image. I don't have enough space here to put it left or right, but if I did, it would rotate it for me. But I will put it above the image, and I'll change the offset. So I've got it at 0.0139. I'll just put it to 1/4 of an inch like that, clicking OK. And then I'll select them and generate my live captions here. Generate live captions, there we go. And there you can see it is offset at 1/4 of an inch from the image. Now this is now our live area. That's where it's going to pick up the data. So if I move it up there, you can see that it doesn't pick up the data, but once I get within 1/4 of an inch of the top, it's going to pick it up. If I move it down to the bottom here, and even though it's within 1/4 of an inch, it's not going to pick up the information. However, if I move it right up where it's touching the image, it will pick it up. So move it back to 1/4 an inch at the top, and it picks up the data. So that's the positioning of it. So let me just delete these and take a look at a couple of other options. I'll go back into my caption setup here, and I'll reset this just to 0.139. Actually, it's 0.0139. That's the default. And I'm going to take a look at changing the metadata. Now, when I click in this, you can see that there are a huge number of options here that you can have. And if this information is built into the file, and I'll be showing you how to do this in a minute or two, you can access it and have it used as a live caption. So one piece of information I'm going to use here is the effective PPI. So this is quite useful if you're working on images and you need to have a 300 PPI for them for printing. Then you can just have this image show what it is, and that way you'll be able to keep track of it. So we can change the style. We don't have any styles here, but I could choose a new paragraph style if I wanted to. We've dealt with styles before, so we'll just skip over that, but you can apply it here. But you can choose what layer it's going to be on. You can choose it as the same as the image, the active layer, or you can put it on a specific layer. Now I have one called no print, and this makes a lot of sense. So I've set up a layer and I've set it to non-printing, and that way anything in that layer isn't going to come out when we print. And effective PPI is something you may want to know as you're working with a document, but you certainly wouldn't want it to print in most circumstances. So that's a good layer for that one. You can group the caption with the image. In this particular case, it's certainly something we wouldn't want to do because it would end up putting it on the same layer if it is grouped together. So I'll just click in OK. I'm going to select all these and come down here, captions, generate live captions, and nothing happened. Well, the reason for that is when you have something on a non-printing layer, it doesn't show up in preview mode. So you have to go to normal mode, and there the PPI shows up like this. So you're not going to see it there in preview mode. If I come over to my layers panel here, you can see no print. I don't have it on a printing layer. If I turn it on like that, of course I can come over into preview mode and it would be there. Let's just select these particular captions and delete them, and we'll go back into our setup, object, captions, caption setup. And this time in the metadata, I'm going to choose something else. I'm going to choose the description. We'll put it back below the image here, and we'll put it back on our standard layer or the same layer as the image. That's a good one here, and select this and see what happens. I'll right click this time, captions, generate live caption, and there it gives a description of what the photograph's about. Except for this one here, it doesn't have any information in it. So this is metadata that you build into the file, that it will go out and pick this up and apply the caption. Now, of course, this is extremely useful, especially if you're working in a work group and you've got a lot of people out there who are working with photographs, if they build in the metadata, then you're not going to have to type in your captions at all. So how do we find the metadata? Well, let's go over to Mini Bridge, and if we go here, we can open our images in Bridge. Now, you can't add metadata from Mini Bridge, but you can do it from the full version. So I'll just right click on it and choose Reveal in Bridge, and here we have our images. Now, if I go up to the eggplant here and go to the File menu and choose File Info, or Control or Command I, it takes us into the metadata, and here we can put the camera information, the video data, lots of stuff here, but the one that I'm interested in here is the description, and here you can see it's polenta with eggplant, which is the metadata that it picked up from the description. I'll cancel out of this. I'll select my nachos and hit Command or Control I, go in here, and here I can just simply type in nachos like that. Click on OK, and there, now that I've applied that, I can go back to InDesign, and it still doesn't get that, and that's because we've got to go over to our links here and refresh it. So let me find it here. It doesn't show up as a missing link, but what we've got to do is just come over and update the link like that. And there it picks up the description from the metadata and pops it right there. And of course, if we were to choose another image here, for example, let's go down and get the vegetarian chili. We already have it in there, so maybe we'll choose the salsa here, pop it in there. You can see it automatically picks up the name from the metadata. So this is a fantastic feature, and as I said, if you're working in a work group and have people working with images, tell them to put the description in the metadata, and that way it'll save you a lot of typing.